Hey everybody, Josh the Retro ReGamer here. So I did a little bit different in this video than I've done currently. It's a really long video because basically I got a Nintendo system for a pretty good price. It was in really rough shape. So I basically take it apart, talk about it, clean it, the whole time kind of giving you some facts and updates as I go along. I've been considering doing something like this on a stream, live stream or something like that, where you could watch me work on a project or something like that. So let me know if that's something you think would be interesting. So I went ahead, this one was actually pre-recorded and I cut together a few of the videos. It's almost completely unedited. I only took out a few chunks that just didn't make sense or were accidental recordings or things like that, and then I spliced everything together. So it's a very long video, so I've got timestamps down in the description of kind of like important things that I'm working on, and I'd say either way definitely watch the last 5 to 10 minutes of the video because it's pretty funny and you get to see kind of how everything ended up, how everything turned out. But if you want to join me for the process, feel free to put it on, just sit back and listen. Or watch it. Let me know if this is something, kind of the style that you want me to keep doing. If you want me to do these every once in a while. It takes a lot more work and time to do videos like this. So I probably, if you do want me to do them, I'll probably spread them out. I won't do a whole bunch at once, but I'll try to do them over time. So just let me know. But also, the other thing I want to say is that I'm really close to 50 subscribers, and I've got a video up right now talking about that. I'm going to do a giveaway for 50 subscribers, but I'm also going to do a giveaway for 100 subscribers when I get to that point. So this Nintendo that I'm working on is what I'm planning for the prize to be whenever I get to 100 subscribers. And it's really funny because there's actually the controllers and the Zapper are kind of two-tone like the system is too. So anyway, check that out. Watch the video, let me know what you think, and let me know what you think about this format. Guys, the Josh the Retro ReGamer here. So this is what we got to work with. Restoration. Hey everybody, Josh the Retro ReGamer here. So today I'm going to work on a Nintendo that's pretty rough shape. So I found this online from a guy locally. Basically, it was just the controllers and 2 games, and I asked him if he had the system, and he said, yeah, but it doesn't work and it's broken, so you don't want that. And I was like, well, actually, I do. So he sold me everything for 30 bucks. So I got 3 games, actually. He ended up having 3 games because he said he had 2, but one of them didn't work, so he didn't want to charge me for that, which I really appreciate. And then he also had some controllers. So let's take a look here. So this is what we've got. So he had Iron Man off-road here. It's pretty, the cart looks like it's in pretty rough shape. It's got bubbling all over it. Looks like it may have been heat damage of some sort. So I'll check on that one. We've got Super Mario Brothers 3 here, which also looks very white on one side. I don't know if you can see the difference there. Let me look at the camera. Yeah. So yeah, wow. Oh yeah, also I'm trying out my new audio. I got a new audio set up, so I've got a better microphone now. So all my other future videos should be in brilliant audio, so you can hear me better. Also interesting, this is Super Mario Brothers 3 with the brothers on the far left side, which only the earliest Super Mario Brothers had that. If you look some of them, it's going to be more over this way, kind of right aligned instead of left aligned. So that's pretty interesting. And then To the Earth was the other one he had here. This one actually looks like it's in decent shape. I mean, it's a little torn there, a little bit of some marks on it, but none of the bubbling or sun fading that the other one had. He didn't say anything about Super Mario 3 not working. He said it sounded like that one worked. So we're going to take a look at those and see if we can save those. So here is the system. Very yellow. That's not the light. It's making noises. There's a lot of dust. A lot needs to be cleaned up on it. Looks like there could be some rust damage, potentially some water damage. So I'm not sure what I'm getting myself into there. Looks like that's plastic's melted right there. It looks like a little bit. So yeah, we're gonna take a chance on this and see if we can bring it back to life. Now, I didn't hook this up, but I'm pretty confident it's not going to work. He said it basically wouldn't even turn on for him. And as you can see here, it's missing the door as well. It's the windowless variant, the open window variant. So I'm going to take a look at the connector on that too, and we'll see what we can do with it. So let's see, I guess we'll start off taking apart the cartridges here and see what we can deal with. This is my ammo box of goodies. I use this to keep all my stuff for cleaning in there. It's actually really great for carrying all your cleaning supplies. Screwdrivers, all that good stuff. So let's open this up, see what we have. If the board's in decent shape, we might be able to just clean it up, clean out the inside of the cartridge, and then go from there. Let's take a look and see what we got here. Okay, some more of that bubbling or whatever there. Okay, the board actually looks pretty decent. Let's see. Yeah, capacitor's still in good shape, so looks pretty good on that. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that up a little bit. But I think we're probably gonna be okay with that. Let me find my pink eraser. Works wonders on the E's. Oh yeah, it's cleaning it right up there. You can already see how shiny it is there now compared to this side even. I hit both sides pretty good. There we go. All right. So that looks pretty good for that. Get all this stuff out of there. Let's see. A little bit of dirt in there too. Okay, I'm gonna use some, so I can clean that out with a little bit of the rubbing alcohol and a Q-tip here. Oh yeah, nothing like some good dirt in there. Maybe rust. Huh. Looks like dirt though. Okay. Clean that out here. It's pretty good. I don't know what caused it to bubble like that. I guess just heat. It's so weird. So, but alright. So far that seems a lot better. Cleaned up a lot of the dust and dirt in here. It's not too bad actually. It's got a few spots, but nothing crazy really. I'm gonna do a little bit more. Just dig around here for another Q-tip. Got a bunch in there, so make sure I get it again wet. Clean this off from the rubber band shavings. And a little bit of leftover ick. There we go. Alright. Honestly, I think that's pretty good. This side looks alright. So let's call that one okay for now. And we'll test it and see how it does. Could always change out the back too if I really had to, but screws look like they might have had some rust or dirt around them too. I'm gonna guess rust for them. Alright. Gonna give it a good blow. Alright. We'll assume that one's alright. Let's take a look at this off-road one that he said doesn't work. See how bad it is. Then we'll move on to the system itself. That's gonna be a beast. feel like it's going to be super nasty. Alright. Okay. Same heat bubbling. Yeah, the pins are definitely worse on this one. Capacitor's not busted. Everything looks intact, as far as I can tell. There we go. Let's see if we can clean these up. And then once I get all this done, we'll hook up the system, try out the games on the system, and then we'll see what happens. Alright, let's see. Clean this a little bit more. Yeah, that's better. Alright, let's see. Try to get it so there's no black or anything left on any of the gold contact pins. Want to get most of it cleaned up and everything. Alright, let's see how that does. I just got a bunch of shavings in there. Alright, this looks mostly okay. It's got a little bit of gunk in there. Get the other side of this. I'll see if I can clean out some of that gunk down there. Some alcohol. Oh yeah, it's pulling it right up. Looks like sticker gunk kind of thing. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know if that's exactly what it is, but that's what it looks like. So, let's see. Okay, clean that off. A little bit more. And let's see. Yeah, that's probably good. Alright, so let's give it a shot. Okay. Put this one back on. Alright, and then we'll see if old Ivan off-road will work for us in a little bit. Alright. Last one we had was To the Earth. This one looks like it's in the best shape of all of them, even from here. So what I'm going to do is just kind of spot clean it with some rubbing alcohol. So you want to use 91% rubbing alcohol because higher alcohol content dries a lot quicker. I found it's a lot better, a lot more effective. So yeah, still getting some dirt out of there. Oh, sorry, I just hit the camera there. Let's see. And you know, your games that aren't super dirty, that maybe you just don't play from time to time, you know, you could always do this real quick before you play them, or if they've been sitting for a while. You might not need to open them up and do a more deep cleaning. Honestly, you might be able to just kind of spot clean them with the Q-tip there and get them cleaned up. Alright. Oh, we didn't give this one a good blow. There we go. Alright. So those are good. So let's take a look now. I'm going to move this out of the way here. We're going to take a look at the console. See what we're getting ourselves into. Alright, I'm going to move these. Stack these over here. So I want to keep as much of it on my little towel here as possible. Don't want a big mess to clean up. Alright. Let's see what we got. I'm going to start off flipping it over here. Taking out the screws in the bottom. If it is water damaged or rusted out, there's a chance that the board's been fried or something's been busted, or maybe even traces have pulled up off the board or gotten cut, or there's so many possible issues here. A little dust there. Definitely hitting some resistance in some of these screws to make me think there's some rust and dirt down in there. Let's see. Okay. Alright, so that one's out. Let's take a look here. Let's get this side. It's not even, there it is. So not finding the screw. There we go. So I don't know if this is a later model or a later off the line. It's 197 is the tag there. 197-32039. That makes me think it's probably later in the life. Also that sticker, I don't really remember that warranty sticker being there. At least not on mine. So maybe later models had it there. I'm not sure. But I don't recall that one, seeing that sticker on mine before, which is interesting. I do have an adapter for it that he gave me with it. I think the one he gave me was just a third-party one, so probably will work, but we'll see. Alright, I'm going to flip it back over so the screws should all fall out. We'll see if we can take the top off, if I've unscrewed all of them enough. Ugh. Ooh, got some dirt out with it too. All right, let's see. Oh, it's not like in the front. Maybe I missed that one. Yep, looks like I missed that one. All right, almost got it. Let's pull that out. Then we can go from there. Okay, that one's loose now. Flip it back over. Alright, let's see what we got here. Whew. Pretty dirty in there. A lot of dirt. Probably from storage or something. Yep, definitely got a lot of rust down in there. So, it may not be recoverable if that's screwed with the power supply any or messed with anything down there. But we're going to take the shield off and try to get down to the 32 pin there. A couple of dead bugs, because you know what's an NES without some dead bugs? An old NES at least. All right. So we're gonna take off the RF shield, and then we're gonna take a look at the connector. See if the connector is still solid. I'm gonna try to clean up as much as I can. I have a replacement shield from an old system that I could install on this if we need to. I'll see if I can clean it up. I don't know what's gonna be savable, I guess is a good word. Oh, looks like it's missing a screw in the back here. Must have been just cranking them out there at the end of the finish line. End of the production line. So I don't think anybody's opened this up before. I mean, I guess it's possible, but it looked like nobody had touched this thing in probably 30 years. So maybe 25. Alright, let's see. Get that one out. I got one that's being a couple ornery screws here. There we go. Okay. So let's get this open. Alright. This open. And I might even have stuff to replace that RF modulator power unit area. But I'm not sure. I am going to have to see if I can get some of the rust off of it probably. But, alright, let's see what we got here. There we go. Ooh, more dust and dirt and nastiness. Alright, so I'm going to take that off next. We'll clean it. Oh, that looks like that could be part of the problem. Looks like a bug got in there and fried itself. I wonder if that caused the system to stop working. Okay. All right. far so good. Let's see. Pull this out. Pull this out. Alright, there we go. I'll pull this out. Sweet. Okay, a little bit of dust in there. It's all good. Okay. So now this piece here should just slide up and off, basically. This whole, oh, missed these two. But I got these already. Yeah. Okay. It's nice having a little magnetic tip there. Okay. Okay, that looks good. Alright, so let's slide this off. And then, let's see. Okay. Not as bad as it could have been. Definitely some gunk in there. So I'm going to go dump this stuff out and wipe this down real quick. I'll be right back. Alright, here we go. So part 2. So I got everything cleaned up for the most part, as best as I can. I don't know if you remember before, this was pretty nasty dirty. As you can see, I've got it pretty clean. There's stuff you notice too whenever you're cleaning that you may not notice normally, even taking the console apart. One is this green mark right here. The black tray I cleaned up, which you can see it's pretty clean now, also had that same mark right here, which makes me think that it's basically was like a check for each part. You know, as it was coming down the assembly line or whatever, they made sure the part was correct. Also notice there's a 5 embedded in the plastic there. I don't know if that's the type of plastic or this number of the shell or how that works. I don't know if you can even see it. Let me see if I can get it right into the light there. There you go, 5. But anyway, I thought that was pretty cool too. But here we go. So I've got that part. The only thing that I wasn't able to fully really fix is going to be this this RF rust on this RF kit here. I cleaned up the contacts as much as I could. I cleaned up the connectors. I could potentially desolder that from the board and replace it if it doesn't work. So I'm going to see what happens. It looks like most of the rust is just on the top and bottom of this, and it actually isn't inside. So it's like this top and bottom here is actually just it's a metal casing that fit over top of it, like a lid and a bottom. So it's not actually inside really that much. The inside looked okay from what I could see. I mean, I did see a little bit of rust in there, but I'm really curious just to see if it works. The board and stuff I got cleaned up. Let me flip that over so you can see it. I got the board cleaned up really nicely. Got the pin connector off. Let me tell you, my favorite tool, which can quickly become your favorite tool, is this right here. You can clean so much so easily with a toothbrush. You can get into the sides, little crevices really easily. You can get into all kinds of different parts really quickly and efficiently. And I highly recommend getting a little toothbrush for your kit if you don't have one. This one's like a soft bristle one. Soft and medium work pretty well. I mean, you could get a hard one too, but I like the softer one because it's not as abrasive as the other one is. So I also cleaned this up quite a bit as well. No more dead bugs or anything. Got as much of the edges cleaned up as I could. You know, washed it down a little bit, wiped it down, so just to get the plastic looking a little bit better. So we're going to take a shot at reassembling all of this here in a second once I finish drying this part. But yeah, so basically we're going to see if we can bring this thing back to life. And so my plan is, basically, I'm going to finish getting this back together, see if I can get it working. I'm going to fix anything, hopefully, that's broke on it if I can, if it doesn't work. And then we're going to, I'm going to use this as a giveaway. So if you're watching the channel right now, I'm at like 35 or 36 subscribers. So once I hit 50 subscribers, my plan is to give this system away, along with probably a controller, maybe 2 controllers, and the games that I found with it. So Super Mario 3, the Ivan, was it the Ivan? Yeah, Ivan Iron Man's Off-Road, and then Super Mario 3 and To the Earth was the other one. So that's the plan. So we'll see how it goes. And yeah. Alright, so another thing that needs to happen before we can put everything back together is we're going to have to clean these contacts here. I took out the original 72-pin connector. It was in pretty rough shape. I think the contacts were probably shot on it. You can do the same thing on this that you do on the carts. You can do an eraser on both sides, as well as the rubbing alcohol. And that will help clean that up. I also highly recommend, if you haven't tried it or used it before, the blinking light wind. Blinking light win is what it's called. Basically replaces this whole tray here and the 72-pin connector, and it has like its own connector and a solid tray piece that's like sits in there. The way it sits in there, it doesn't put extra strain on the board either. It makes really good contact with the pins, and it bypasses the region lockout chip, which is pretty awesome. So I highly recommend that. I may end up throwing that in here, especially if my little third-party pin that I have doesn't work. Then I'm probably going to do that next, and because I want to make sure it works really well before I turn it into a giveaway. So same thing with this box here. If I can't get that working, I will probably desolder it and replace it, or I may end up replacing the board. We'll see, depending on what's good and what's not. So that's the thought right now. So I just did that. I'm gonna use a good old toothbrush again. I'm gonna put some. I'm just gonna dunk it in the rubbing alcohol here, and then I'm gonna clean those a little bit more directly. I'm gonna get the back side there. Just make sure it's good and cleaned up. Oh, it's got a spot on here. I don't know if that's causing any issues, but it definitely could be part of the problem if it's having trouble reading stuff. Alright, so there's a couple things I need to hook back up as well, which the power and reset button. Should make sure they're clean. Got a little bit of the alcohol in there still. They're a little worn off, but not too bad. And we'll get that back in here. And there we go. Just sets right in there. And then we got our 2 screws for that right here. So I'll screw that back in. Maybe. If I can hold on to the screw, come back here. Alright. I gotta figure out a better camera placement next time. So right now I'm having to dodge the camera stand a little bit. Alright. So that end's tight. Let's go ahead and get this end down. Sorry, I just knocked the camera again. Need to get a better mount for it. Come on now. Go on. There you go. Don't be ornery. You worked fine earlier. Alright. 1985 Nintendo. I love seeing that on stuff like that. I like when you get to see the branding on stuff. I mean, whether it's Sega, Atari, Nintendo, you know, whatever. I think that's pretty awesome. Alright, let's see. Hopefully I wire these back up correctly. First player and second player. And I'm going to make sure that I did these the right way by checking earlier in my video. So I just discovered earlier in my video that I had cut it off before I took off this piece. So you guys didn't get to see me removing this part here. So I'm going to go ahead and seat it back on here as best I can from what I remember. And then we'll just go from there. And as weird as it is, I actually think that player 1 is actually on this side. But I don't know. So we're going to plug it up, and I'm going to test it in a little bit, and hopefully it's right. I have a 50-50 chance of getting it right. And I thought I paid better attention whenever I unplugged it, but apparently I didn't. So now I have to just take a chance. Alright, so that guy's back in there. Let's go ahead and leave this one over here. If it's like that one, it's going to have to go like this. Yep. Alright, so those are the two controller ports. Got our power supply and everything. I just nailed the camera again. Okay, actually, that's making me question if it goes over here because of these posts that are in the way now. Actually make more sense to go to that from that side rather than trying to be over here. So I'm going to change it. I'm probably going to regret this later. So it seems like that's too close, but let's see. Let's see which one feels right. Does it feel more right to go over here like this? Or go over there, inside? I don't even know. There we go. Well, we're going to do it like this, and we're going to hope that it's right. Alright, so there we go. That, get around these posts here. Let's get this shielding, everything settled back in here. And then we can start finishing, putting everything together again. Alright, there's our posts. Alright, something's catching still here. Well, that one looks correct. So let's see what's holding us up here. Oh, that looks right. So I think that's all. Oh, it's our cable. It is the cable causing problems. Okay. Probably have to run it through there instead of over top of it. So it looks like, oh, it's hitting that power cable too. Interesting. This is where I've run into this before, and it's always been kind of finicky whenever I've gotten to this part. So let's see what I can do here. That squeaky. It's like some good squeaky metal. Ouch. Come on. Come on now. Don't be a pain. Don't be a nuisance. It's probably on the wrong side too, but at least play nice for right now. Alright, let's see now if that plays a little bit nicer. There we go. That settled a lot better. Okay. Let's see if this gives us any indicator. Who knows if that port isn't lined up right either, it's gonna yell at you. Alright, so let's see. That one's lined up. That one's lined up, but something is still keeping this from going down. Alright, so I finally got it to go down. and actually set in there two things. These little black pins that are coming up from the bottom, they're part of the post. That can be what causes it. But also this RF shield on the bottom there. Try to get that set in first before you do the controller board. That will help a lot, as I just found out. So, all right, I've got everything connected back up, I think. Hopefully the controller ports are right. I'll have to check those later and test them out. Now, we're going to reattach the... I'm going to actually put in... So this is a 72-pin connector. This was a spare that I had. I honestly am not 100% sure if it's in good condition or not. So we're going to put it in there and see. If it doesn't work, I'll take it out and swap it for something else. Like I said, if I don't have one that works, I'll probably end up just putting a... I've got a little bit of tarnish there still. I'll probably end up just putting a blinking light win in there, because I'm a huge fan of it and it works really well. So and I've seen it bring systems back to life even itself. So alright, so we're going to slide this guy on there. Kind of snap it on there so it's snug. Alright, so the board's on there. Now technically I could leave all this like it is and plug everything up and see what happens. But I'm going to let this probably dry a little bit longer just to make sure that we don't run into any problems with it. Because I mean it's fairly dry now from earlier when I cleaned it. But I want to make sure it's definitely dry before I go plugging stuff up to it. So we're gonna set that over here for now. All right, so that's that. So I'm gonna get out the TV and everything. I've got a little tester CRT that I use. I'm gonna plug it up and then we'll go from there. And we're back. So let's see, last time I left off, I'd showed you that I cleaned up some stuff. I was going to test out the system, see if I could get it working. Well, I plugged up the system with the power adapter, and basically I got the red flashy light of death. So what I'm going to do is disable the lockout chip, which I was thinking about doing anyway. I wasn't going to do it unless I needed to, but as soon as I got that red flashing light, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to disable the lockout chip. So it's really easy to get out. You can be as precise or as crazy with it as you want. I kind of just went for the like tear it out kind of thing with this one. So basically what you do on the board here, you're looking for this chip, which is close to the RF modulator power supply. Then you want the fourth pin in. So 1, 2, 3, 4 pins. And then I just take a little plier here, kind of grab it, and you can like grab it and then just pull. And you can kind of pull it out and also kind of like kind of work it loose and then kind of rip it out. So I'll show you kind of what that looks like now. So you see how I've kind of pulled that pin out. I basically pulled off so it held onto the board, and I just pulled the pin, the metal out, so it's not connecting anymore. And that should fix the lockout problem. And keep it from doing the flashy light every 5 seconds. What that also means is that you can play other region. You can play PAL. You can play PAL games with the system, which is always kind of nice. Back to this RF shield that hates me. So I'm going to try to get this seated back in here. And there we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and slide this on there. I'm just going to power it up to see if I get a solid red light. If I do, then I'll hook up the board and everything to a monitor just to test it, make sure the board plays nice, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I got it plugged back up, or plugged back in. I'm going to plug this up. Yeah, so super simple mod to get that out, really. Okay, I don't have that seated quite right because it's doing the thing where it doesn't want to sit flush again. Alright, I'll see if I can fix that in a second, but I mainly just want to make sure this is going to work. Alright, power adapter's plugged in. Here we go. Yeah! Solid red light. That's a good sign. So, I'm going to plug in a game and just see if it stays with a solid red. I don't know how good this pin connector is. This is a spare pin connector that I had, so it may not be great. Okay, still solid. So next we'll plug it up to a CRT and see if we get anything else. So I'm going to reseat this, and then I'm going to plug it up to a CRT, and then we're going to go from there. Alright, here we go. So I'm going to plug everything up. I've got the power plugged in, so I haven't done anything else yet. So we get to experience together for the first time. So I'll plug in the power. Okay, I'm going to plug in the cables. Really, any kind of RCA cable should work. These cables are, man, really stiff because they haven't really been used before. Boy, you can tell. Ugh, there we go. Alright, so on these are actually component cables, but they'll work. So I'm just plugging in the green into the video and the red into the audio. As long as both of those work, we should be okay. But man, these are some serious cables. Alright, so turn on the TV. I think it's got a setting for composite. I use this little TV for testing all my projects because it's tiny, doesn't take up a lot of space. It's got RF and composite, so here we go. Alright, so we get a gray screen with nothing plugged in. I think that's a good sign. So let's see what we get. Super Mario 3 plugged in. Still nothing. Alright, this is the one we cleaned, and remember, I'm not sure about this pin connector. I'm going to try another game. Alright, nothing there. So it could be the video unit is just gone. Let me make sure I plugged in the right colors. Yeah, that should be correct. Alright, so let me grab a game that I have that I know is a good game, and we'll plug it up and we'll see what happens. Good old Super Mario World. Alright, there is a pin on this connector that looks kind of funky, so I'm actually wondering if it's the connector. So what I'm going to do, I think it could be the connector. So I'm going to see if I can find another connector to try, then we'll give that a shot. Okay, got another connector hooked up. We're going to try it real quick. If it doesn't work, I think the one I'm using is a third-party connector, and usually with those, you don't have to push it down. So let me check real quick, actually. Actually, this is an original connector, so that might have been the problem. You can tell if they're an original or not. It's really difficult, though. See right there in the glare to the left? Let's see, if you're looking at the screen, it's to the left there, that little circle. I've only seen those on original connectors. Non-original connectors won't have that little, it's like a little raised part in the plastic, a little raised circle. Non-original connectors won't have that. I'm not sure what this one is, so let's see. Boom! There it is. This must not be an original connector, because the non-originals, usually you can just plug those in and it goes. So there we go. That's working. Let's see if we got sound. I don't think there's really any sound right here, so I'm going to have to grab a controller, which will be good because we can make sure controller 1 works since we changed that out. Alright. Oh, I freaked it out. Okay. Sound works. 1 player. Let's hope it controls it. Looks like it will. Yep, so I got the controllers hooked up correctly. Sound is working great. Looks like really good composite there. Looks like it might be a little high on the brightness. I might need to adjust that. So there we go. Got a working Nintendo console from a, hey, this isn't even salvageable. So if you want a good project, look for a beat up, busted Nintendo system near you and see what you can do with it. So I talked about in another video about making this the giveaway for 50 subscribers. Well, I ended up doing something else for that, which you can go check out the video for it. This is going to be for 100 subscribers because this video ended up taking me a whole lot longer to do than I thought it would. So I still need to put everything back together, do some more finishing touches on it, and I'll do some more video on that too. But at least, hey, we got it working. So I'm going to reassemble it. I'll do some video of the reassembly, and then do maybe some quick playing with it, and then we'll go from there. Hey everybody, so I fixed everything so it sits flush now. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I did. Basically, this blue connector power thing was over top of the metal shield. It needs to be underneath, which I realized looking at one of my other project NESs. So that's the problem there. So I'm going to go ahead and reassemble all this stuff on camera. I'm not sure how much of this I'll use, maybe all of it. Maybe I'll do an unedited release at some point. Might have me like cursing out the system or something. But anyway, then you want to slide in the little connector tray here. And with the, I think this is an official one, so you're probably going to want to push the game down. Or I don't know if this is the official one or not. It might be a third-party 72 pin. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't have to be an original one, but it's up to you really what you want to do. Basically, I should be able to just slide this back in there. I don't know why I must not have it lined up correctly. Well, might be because there we go. I gotta slide it past the edge there. So you can still click this down if you want to. It's up to you how you want to handle that on your system. This one I'm gonna set it up so basically it could be clicked down if you wanted it to click down, or it could stay up. So, but basically that's gonna sit like that. On there, it looks like it's a little bit, I don't think it's that loose, but I'm gonna tighten that down. But basically, so you could click it in there if you want. With the 72 pin, those newer ones, typically they have a tighter grip. Sometimes they function better if they're not pushed down, but since I disabled that lockout chip, I don't think you're gonna have to worry about it. Seriously, if you're working on an NES, disable the lockout chip. It causes so many problems. So the second you plug it up, see something flashing, that should be your first go-to. Either pull it out with some little thin pliers, pull out that pin, or you can heat it up with your soldering iron and pull out the pin if you want to leave the pin intact, so you could resolder it later if you really wanted to. I don't really care on some of my project ones, so I'm just pulling them out on those. Or if you get the blinking light when you don't have to modify the board at all, it bypasses it through the connector, which I also highly recommend that. My main NES that I game on, that's what I do. But that's up to you, however you guys decide you want to do that. But I'm going to go ahead and put these screws back in and get this board kind of locked down. So I did get the board flush. Once I made the change to that bottom shield, the whole board sat flush, which means the connectors are a lot easier to get to now as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put these screws back in. And when you tighten these screws down, you don't want to crank these all the way down. These are kind of just to hold it in place. If you crank these all the way down, you'll realize that this won't completely click into, it won't click anymore, because this needs to travel a certain amount of distance. So the back ones you want to be kind of screwed all the way down. The front ones, I don't crank them down. I actually go maybe 5 or 6 turns from being cranked down. So if you screw them all the way down, unscrew it about 5 turns, and that's probably about perfect. So we got our case screws here too. So I don't want to use those yet. I'm gonna make sure I save those. There's a couple of these bigger screws actually go into the system itself, and here where I'm at now. I'm gonna keep these screws for the cases though. Those are the case screws. All right. And this one, remember, was missing that one screw in the back of the shielding. I don't know what the deal was there. But before the shielding, these guys definitely go into here. And I'm going to actually, the back ones are actually only this deep. These go all the way down through the board into a post. So I'm putting the longer screws up towards the front of the NES, basically to make sure that you hit those right. Let's see, make sure I'm lined up on that and check the hole there. I really need to do a different camera setup for these might be wrong. No, these I think these do go all the way through to the post. Well, they should. I probably shouldn't have tightened up the front ones as much as I did yet. That was a dumb mistake on my part. Alright, let's see. Yeah, I tightened up the front ones too much and it pulled away from the holes. So that was a dumb move on my behalf. There we go. Down into the post. There we go. It's nice seeing and hearing things locked down. I'm not going to tighten that one all the way down yet until I get this other back one done, like my dad taught me. Don't tighten down both sides until you have them both in, or don't tighten down one side until you have both of them started, basically. Alright, let me loosen up this side too, because I think I did the same thing on this side. There we go. Yep, there it is. And locking down. There we go. Now that I'm in all those, I can tighten any of these down, and we should be good now that all of them are threaded a little bit. Okay. Tighten this one down. All right. Okay, and I could put the shielding in, or I could add in a couple extra screws there. Yeah, I'll go ahead and add in those other 2 screws. I kind of do those two small screws back here because they're, like I said, they're just for the plastic piece there. It's just some additional reinforcement here because, I mean, this is going to handle the brunt of whenever you shove a cartridge in there, which Blinking Lightwind doesn't pay me any money or give me any free product, so I'm not getting anything from saying their name a bunch of times, but I seriously love them guys. Because what they do for this, they have a whole different redesign of this, and it's a cross beam, and it's got clamps basically that are molded into the plastic, so no matter how hard you push, it's not putting any additional stress on the pins or on the board. The stress is going to the back and into their cartridge, into their shell that they built. So I might do a video on that and just show it sometime because it's brilliantly designed and it's only 30 bucks. Like I said, definitely worth it. All right, so now we're going to put the RF shielding back on. And I've left it off before too. I mean, it's probably good to have it on there if you're, I mean, I wouldn't stress over it if you're worried about it, but it's probably good to have on there. Help keeps from, you know, too much interference or something like that causing problems with the system. So I'm actually only gonna screw it down in a couple places because as you saw, like, you don't need all of these in there. I mean, they crank these down. You know, I mean, it's not bad to have them, but you don't really need as many tight ones all around as they do. So I put enough on there to make sure it's secured, but I don't go crazy with it. So it's up to you guys what you want to do. That's just my preference. I like making sure the sides and the front is secure. Then I'll probably just put one in the back like they had, because I'm not really super worried about that. So all right. Oops, sorry, bumped the camera there. All right. Okay, this one I think is a pretty important one. Goes into the post there. And you can see the ones that go, like this one goes into a post. This one doesn't actually go into anything. I think this one goes into a post as well. So I pretty much stick with the ones that go into posts. I'm more concerned with those because they hold the board and everything else in place too. It's not just holding the RF shield on. So here we go. And once I get all these hooked up, my plan is we'll put the casing back on and we'll try out the games that we cleaned. Since we saw Super Mario 3 didn't work before I swapped out the pin connector, and I didn't test it after, I figured I'd wait until we got them all. So we got it all hooked back up together, and then we'd take on that adventure. So our 2 posts back here, but I'm just going to do, well, maybe I'll just go ahead and put screws in all of it. Since this is going to be a giveaway, maybe whoever gets it will want to have screws in most of the holes or all of them. Although it might be a pain for them if they want to put on the blinking light when they're going to have to take off all these screws. Or maybe I'll do that before I ship it. I could ask them if they want me to do it for them. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, I'm using some of my case screws here, but I have a bunch of others of these screws all over the place, so I'm not really too worried about it. Alright. Alright, hopefully this didn't stop the system from working, because I'm going to have to unscrew all of these if it doesn't work now. Alright. So, still clicks down. That's still good. Everything's cleaned up. I might wipe that down a little bit more again. Alright, but let's go ahead and get the case checked out here. The top case. Alright. So, still looking good after my nice clean of everything. Oh, looks great. I mean, it does have that yellowing, and it's got the doorless feature. It's the new style NES without a door. Alright, let's see. Yeah, it sits on. You're going to get a little bit of resistance, which could be one due to the RF shield. And like everything seems flush, but I'm going to tie a few things down just a little bit more, because I actually don't think I screwed that all the way back down after I did that. Okay, I'm going to make sure that still worked. And I also might have bent the shielding a little bit whenever I pulled it off and was trying to wipe it down. All right. So you'll get a region-free NES. I was going to show you guys too. I showed this in a video as well, but also if you want to play Famicom games, that's all you need right there. Hook this up to a Game Genie, and it will fit. It will travel this length with a cart. Basically, you plug in your cartridge. You plug in your Famicom cartridge here. This needs to touch the pin connector back here. So what I've done is I'll plug in a Famicom cartridge into a Game Genie, and then plug the Game Genie into here. I think that's what I did. Yeah. Yeah, basically plug the Game Genie into here, and then plug this into there. Or I think I plugged this into the Game Genie. This plugged into the Game Genie. This plugged into the Famicom cartridge, and then the Game Genie plugged into here. So you can do that. These are, I guess, kind of the only official adapter from Nintendo. Some of the early copies of the 5-screw carts, the Black Label carts, had these adapters in them because they were having trouble keeping up with the demand. So basically they were taking Famicom boards, converting them to NTSC NES boards to play in there. I mean, you can see copyright 1985 Nintendo, on this little connector, because all this is a pass-through connector. It's got this little resistor and then this little chip there, and that's it. Basically allowing for Famicom games to be converted and played on the NES. And this might even be something to help bypass the region chip, I'm not sure. But anyway, so some of the early games, the ones I found the most that have this are 5-screw. Gyromites are really good. Duck Hunt sometimes, and Hogan's Alley is another one that I've found a lot in, and they're pretty cheap. You can usually find those for $5 or less, just the 5-screw cartridge. And some of them have it, some of them don't, so it's kind of luck of the draw. So just be aware of that when you go on the hunt. Oh, there we go. It sits a lot nicer. It just kind of sat down a lot better. So let's see. It's got a little bit of issue with the travel there. I want to make sure nothing is causing any issues, so I might need to oil that up a little bit. I'm going to do just a little bit more, a couple more turns on it. like I said, you don't want to crank it all the way down, but you want it low enough that this isn't pushing up into the system. There we go. Still clicks. So there we go. Each time I've done that, it's sat a little bit nicer, and I felt a little bit more comfortable with it. So I think I'm gonna do that. I might even do just a tiny bit more, and then we'll call it good. Let's see. I feel like this one's almost totally. Yeah, see how that's not clicking very well? Yeah. Oh wow. Just a little bit of charge on it. See how it's kind of skipping when you punch it down? It means it's a tad bit too tight. So unscrew this maybe 2 or 3 turns. There we go. Now it's clicking like it's supposed to. Get this on there. Yep, and that feels a lot better too. All right, now I'll flip it over, put some screws back in. I'm probably gonna have to find some screws because I I don't think I have all of them here. And I want to make sure the system's gonna sit flush. It looks like it's pulling up a little bit, maybe from the RF shield. Another reason I don't like the RF shield that much. So we'll see if when I tighten this down, if it's still pulling up a lot, I'll probably take it off and probably rebend that RF shield just to make sure it sits nice and flush. I don't want it having any problems. I can't tell if it, there it goes. Really want to tighten this side down. I know it's not what I'm supposed to do, but I want to make sure it's good and snug. And see how much. Oh yeah, okay, it's flush. That's what I was worried about. So those screws, it was only a little bit. So if you tighten it down with the screws and there's still a big gap there on the NES, like between the top and bottom plastics, you should take it off, re-crank down the shield if you can, and also make sure you've cranked down the cart holder as much as you can without losing that click hold, because that's kind of important. All right, I'll stick in the back one here. All right, I'll make sure these get snugged up. Same thing with the back. You want to make sure it holds pretty well. I mean, it's going to be. There might be a tiny bit of space there. I mean, there really shouldn't be any space. It's going to be mostly flush. They're all probably slightly different, or they might vary just slightly. So, I mean, if there's a little bit of variance there, I don't think it's anything to worry about, depending on how much that might bother you. All right, let's see. So I'm out of screws here, but I know I lost one of my RF shield screws here. Let me grab that one. All right, we'll do this center one here. Oh yeah, and I did add an extra screw than they had even on the RF shield, so that makes sense. But it's okay, I've got some spare screws in my handy dandy ammo box. All right, let's see. Ta-da! Bunch of extra screws in here. Always nice to have some extras of these on hand. Actually, before I finish screwing all of this in, we should test it again. So we're going to do that real quick. So let's see. I don't know. Oh, you can see a little bit of the video. All right, I'm going to move the video real quick. Just step this back and crank it up so you can see what I see on the screen here. All right. So here we go. Let me plug everything up real quick. Then we'll pop in Super Mario 3. Let's see what we get. All right, let's see. I said green was video. Man, these cables are tight. Audio is red. Okay, and grab the power adapter. Turn it back on. on. Okay. Moment of truth. Slide this in. Oh, seats so nicely. Oh, see what I'm saying about the travel? That's what happens if you have it not loose enough. All right, well, let's just try it like this for now. Oh, nothing. Okay. Might have to try our control. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's trying to work. That's the cart. So we're gonna need to clean that cart a little bit more. Let's try this. This was the one we didn't look like we needed to clean it that much. Oh, might need to clean it some more too. So I might not have done a great job cleaning. We're gonna have to revisit that. I really want to get it to lock down too. All right, well, let's try the control. Make sure I didn't break something. Dang. If I can get it. There we go. Okay. Yep, so we're gonna have to clean the carts better. Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna have to clean the carts better. Okay, so I opened it back up. I'm gonna loosen this tray just a little bit. I clearly had it a little too tight. That should fix the problem. What we're gonna do is slap that on there, kind of hold it down like the screws would be. Okay, that seems like that should be good. It's locking into place a lot better. So now we're gonna flip it over and make sure. I'm gonna hold it really tight. Still close, so I think I'm gonna do just another turn. Another turn there. Another turn on this side. There we go. Okay. Let's hold this, snap this on there. Hold it down firm. Yeah, that seems pretty good as far as I can tell. So we're gonna do that. Whoops, just dropped one of my screws. All right. Okay, so you got to be careful too how many times you screw in, because I found there's one system, one of the first systems I ever worked on. Man, I screwed I screwed into that thing like so many times, probably 6 or 7 times, and I think I started to strip out the inside of the plastic on the casing, to the point where I was feeling like I was probably gonna have to replace the casing, the top of it. So I think this is kind of a unique top. That's why I'm planning to give it away with the giveaway. If you win the giveaway and you want to replace the top, I mean, it's a super easy thing to do. It's a great little, mod to get your hands dirty if you want to experiment taking all the screws out, replacing the top shell. Some people like to spray paint them or create their own things. You can get custom doors. You can get replacement doors. I mean, you can find all the parts pretty readily available now. A lot of the community has come together to do some third-party stuff, or you can find some of the original stuff out there still too. Oh yeah, one of those was a big screw. I'm gonna hold on to that big screw because I need those for inside of NES's. I think didn't I already screw one in there? I thought I did. No. I already screwed that one in. I'm losing my mind. It's okay. All right. There we go. Let's tighten it down. Come on, tighten up. There, it should be getting close to being tight. There it goes. Okay. I should test this again before I crank all these down again like last time. Make sure I'm not going to run into any problems. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you press really lightly, it might not, but I mean, it's right there. The catch is right there, so I think that's good. Let's try it. We'll just put a game in and just see what it feels like. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Huh. Wonder why that's not traveling as well as I... It's like that the tray is catching on something. I might have to see what's going on there. I think it's catching on the plastic, actually. That's weird. I haven't seen it do something like that before. Because it works there. I mean, that's working. Might have to play around with that tray, or it could be that this plastic has bent out any. I don't think the screw's coming into play. Let's try this. Huh. I mean, that worked. It's working better. It's like, huh. I don't know. Maybe I'll loosen it up just a little bit more, just to make sure. Hey guys, so it was a super easy fix. So I had just cranked down these front screws here. I had made those a little too tight. I loosened them like literally a half turn, and look, it's just softly closes now. So I guess it was just holding this piece on there too tight, and that was binding up the tray a little bit. Because see, now I can just, and it works fine. So let's try another game. I'll show you. Just put in the game, click it down. There you go. Perfect. Just a light little push in, click down, and you're good. Slide it in. Ta-da! Powered up, and you're good to go. I don't have it plugged up right now. So I'm going to put in the last couple screws here, and then we'll plug everything up again, and I'll clean the games. Clean the games a little bit better, and then we'll go from there. Start with Super Mario 3 because that one was really close. That little bit of artifacting tells me that it's probably the cartridge. That's rarely something to do with the pin. Since we just swapped out the pin connector with one that I'm pretty sure is pretty decent, that's where we're going to go next. Checking to make sure I've got all the screws in there good. Looks like I do. Let me check this one. I don't know if I put a screw in there actually. There it is. It didn't look like I had one in there, so there we go. Okay. Oh, the screws are loose. Okay, so let's take this guy apart. Let's see if we can clean it a little bit better. We'll look for any kind of marks on the pins. There was that one pin internally that had that little black mark on there. If worst case scenario, if this doesn't fix it, or if we keep seeing artifacting, I might take that apart, and you can use some very, very fine, extra fine sandpaper on a contact, but that's like your last solution, and only if there's something like that that you can get off, because it will scratch the contact, could make the contact completely unusable. But if you can keep it relegated to whatever piece of dirt or rust or whatever's on the pins, then we should be able to just basically get it off the pin, and then the pin will work just fine after that. So that's the plan. There we go. Alright, so let's look at this guy. So that looks pretty clean on that side. I can see a little bit of something there and a little bit of oxidation or something maybe, so I'm gonna see if I can get any of that off. It's not much, it's just a little tiny blip. But sometimes that can be just enough to screw with things. And since it read my other cartridge fine, that's my hesitation, is that it's probably the cartridge itself. So use the eraser a little bit more. Then I'll follow up with Q-tip here, some rubbing alcohol, just to keep it clean. Let's see. Yeah, getting a little bit more dirt off of it. Yeah, some of that might be the eraser, but some of it might be loosened up dirt, actually. That pin that I saw a little mark on it too. Pretty good. Alright, that looks pretty clean. So if this doesn't work, I'll test it in my Nintendo just to make sure it's not the cartridge. And if that's the case, then we might come back and I'll off camera take everything apart again, clean up the pin connector in here, and then we'll go from there. Also, another good thing you can do, electric contact cleaner. It's a spray, is amazing. You can use it for any kind of electrical contact. So it has a little straw with it. You could spray it in your NES against the contacts, or any of your other systems against the contacts. It's actually really awesome. I have used it before and love it. It's a great cleaner. There we go. All right, so let's plug up everything. Then we'll power it back on. Hope for the best. Hopefully we got a working first release copy of Super Mario Brothers. There we go. Let me back up my incredibly difficult cables here. I guess it's good they're making such good contact. I've gotten a little bit better. Ugh, not much though. Whew. All right. Turn on the TV. Let's see what happens. I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit so you guys can be along for the journey. Alright, I'll scoot this back. So, Super Mario Bros. 3. It's kind of nice so you can see what it is. Boom! That's what I want to see. No real artifacting or anything. Let's see if it, I'm going to hook up a controller, see if it plays okay. I assume it will, because, I mean, everything else has been fine. Sorry, I'm bumping the camera a little bit with the controller here. Oh, okay. There we go. Looking good. All right. So we're looking good there. We'll go ahead and disconnect this. Move this to the side. Let's go ahead and test these other games again real quick. I think I'm probably going to have to clean all of them. But it may have been, honestly, that pin, that tray being off a little bit, and the pin connector itself being a problem. I really need to have a better camera set up here. Sorry. All right. So here we go. To the earth. Nope, we'll have to clean that guy still. Off-road, probably still not going to work either. Nope. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to clean those up as well, and then we'll give them a shot. Alright, so moment of truth, here we go. So we already cleaned this one. If you were watching just a little bit ago, this one should be good. I love when it has a little bit of a snug grasp. Clicks in. Super Mario 3, looking good. So that one has been resurrected. Let's try, we'll come to that one last, because that's the one that he said didn't work and he gave it to me for free, basically. Let's try To the Earth now. Yes! Oh, shoot your Zapper. This one's a Zapper game. I think I knew that. I feel like this might be the one that had glasses or something with it too. And lastly is off-road. This is the one that he said didn't work. And still doesn't work. Man, cleaned it a couple times. Well, actually, I've only cleaned it really well once. Alright, so we're going to try to clean that one again. Really want to get this guy working. Let me see if I can make sure it seats in there really good. You know what? Let's give it the old NES blow. Not that that really does anything, but... Oh my gosh. Well, there you go. Proof positive that the NES blow works. Just try not to blow any spit in there because it will rust and corrode those pins. Oh my gosh. I can't believe that just worked on camera. So there you go. So if it doesn't work, just, you know, after you've cleaned it really thoroughly, maybe just give it a quick little blow, just, you know, for the heck of it, because apparently that still is how the old NES works. So there you go, guys. Completely restored and good as new. You can play PAL games on it. I wish I had one here and I would test it out. If you get the adapter, you can play some Famicom games. You just got to slide them down in the slot there with a Game Genie, or you can take the lid off and probably get in there a lot easier. But anyway, so this project is going to be for my 100 subscriber mark. Once I hit that mark, I'll put a link up so you can basically put in some entries for the NES. I'll send the NES with a controller, maybe 2 controllers if I can find an extra one, with a controller, and the I'll include a power adapter and some cables to hook it up with, and then also these 3 games. So Super Mario Brothers 3, the off-road there, and To the Earth. And I'll probably throw in a Zapper as well, just so you have that. I also got a controller and a Zapper from him. I'm gonna have to clean them up a little bit. They looked a little rough, but the yellowing matches. So, and that doesn't necessarily mean it was like a bad environment. It could, a lot of the plastic of that time, some of the NESs and some of the Super Nintendos yellowed like that. I don't really get a whole lot of smell off of this other than just like 80s electronics. So I think that it was mostly just time and probably sunlight, and then just the plastic itself. A lot of it was susceptible to that. I mean, you can see this was definitely sunlight or some kind of heat that got to this. I mean, to have that stark of a difference, it's like it was sitting here in the sunlight getting baked constantly or something. And the bubbling on this guy, I mean, it's from like an attic or a garage or something like that. But hey, it all is working. So there you go. Thanks again, guys. Like, subscribe. Thanks for checking out my videos. Let me know if there's anything else you want to see. I'm just kind of winging it on a lot of stuff, doing stuff that I find interesting or that I'm working on, or projects or things like that. If you like these more project-focused ones, let me know, and I can try to gear things more that way. If you like the ones where I talk about stuff, let me know. So anyway, like, subscribe, let me know what you think, and thanks for watching. Thanks for checking out the video. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Again, this is going to be part of a 100 subscriber giveaway. Let me know if you like this kind of format, if you think I should try to stream this, live stream it, or something like that. I want to show you guys, too, some of the controllers and the Zapper. So you saw how yellow the system was. So look, a yellow Zapper. No, actually, it's a perfect condition gray Zapper. No, it's a yellow Zapper. Yeah, it basically is exactly two-tone, just like the system is. This is kind of the two-face system. Controllers, kind of the same way. You can see how the sun fading got to the buttons and turned them white, but actually this controller is really clean. It just, like, it looks barely used. It does look like it's used, but it's not as dirty as you'd think it would be based on the yellowing. So basically I think what happened is, I mean, this was sitting like this, and these were sitting like this in sunlight outside with the console, and it looks like the Super Mario 3 game on top. And so they're literally like two-tone on the same plastic. So anyway, so I'm going to include all this, a couple controllers, the Zapper, the power adapter, the system, and then some cables to hook everything up. You know, so whenever I hit 100 subscribers, I'll put a link on this video and then any future videos for entries to that. So check it out. Keep watching the channel and sharing. Like, subscribe. Thank you guys for being great.